All right, cognition, all this good stuff coming out. But after this video, we'll have everything that we need for at least for our midterm or second exam. Cognition is pretty much development of a mental process, and it's an umbrella term used to describe attention, memory, perception, understanding, and thought. There's 5 things that go into cognition. Cognition is a complex process involving communication, language, personal experience, and cultural influences. Under ICF, cognition is referred to as mental function. And the definition for mental function is psychosociological function that encompasses thought, intellect, information processing, emotions, and behaviors, all which are critical to daily function. Yeah, but under the ICF, which is International Classification Functioning of Disabilities and Health, which looks at a person's quality of life and also their health. And there's 2 classifications or 2 categories for mental function, and one is global mental functions and specific mental functions. And pretty much, darn, I'm gonna grab those real quick, but while I do that, I'm going to keep talking. I just don't want to give like false information about those 2. Okay, so embodied cognition is active movement. Pretty much physically doing something influences your cognition. God dang, all over the place. Anyway, so I'm going to look for my cognition. All right, we're going to go back to the beginning. Yeah, just another recap then. Okay, I'm going to go off my note cards. Cognition is a development of mental process, umbrella term for understanding, thought, attention, memory, and perception. 2 types of categories under the ICF for mental functions would be specific mental functions, which is conscious thought and the role of cognition in behavior. Pretty much be able to plan active thinking and how you act towards how you would act like towards work or how you would act at a party. Those are just examples. But pretty much specific mental functions, like I said, is being cautious. Your cautious thought. Global mental functions are unconscious functions that regulate arousal and mental state. Pretty much is unconsciously, you're like breathing, you're opening your eyes, you're still paying attention, you know what day of the week it is, you're orientated, but you're not really thinking about it. So that's global mental function. It governs your body without you really actually paying any type of attention to it. 2 types of intelligence would be fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence is the ability to think and reason abstractly, such as solve novel problems, identify patterns, and also identify patterns in relationships. Crystallized intelligence is the ability to utilize information, utilize skills, knowledge, and experience. So pretty much you're going to apply what you've learned. That's crystallized intelligence. Consciousness functions is a state of awareness and alertness, sustaining a wakeful state and aware of one's own existence. That is consciousness functions. Orientation is how one reflects awareness of oneself, others, time, and place. Now, time, the development of time is slower than oneself and others because it just takes a longer time for you to orientate that. Like a child, you think about a child, tell them what day of the week it is. Like, we're going to do something next week. They think you're going to do it tomorrow, So you have to take that into consideration. And the orientation of place is last to develop. And it's pretty much because it has to do with abstract thought process. Metacognition is complex goal directed thinking, which involves planning, organizing, evaluating, and executing. And there's two parts of memory, which would be your short-term memory and your long-term memory. Now, your short-term memory has two subcategories, which is your primary memory, and it's the ability to recall information immediately, pretty much under 30 seconds or less, and your working memory, which holds information to use for reason and comprehension. Your long-term memory is permanent, pretty much limitless information processing system. And for storage, the definition of storage, pretty much we're talking in related to long-term memory, the storage of the long-term memory. It utilizes reasoning and comprehension of short-term memory, and also is autobiographical storage of past events. Like you can remember things from your past really easy because it's organized already in your permanent memory, your long-term memory. And also it has it memorizes language, as in what's factual. You can't fool me like chocolate's made of strawberries. It's not made of strawberries. It's not, and that's a permanent memory for you. So it's starting a long-term memory. Emotional functions are mental functions related to feelings, pretty much knowing that there's a time and a place to express yourself, in an undirected manner. As in, if you're at work, you're not going to start crying all the time over something dumb, or you're really frustrated to take it out on your boss. You can wait till you get home. So pretty much just knowing that there's a time and a place. Before I roll out, let me just see if there's anything that I missed real quick. I don't think so, but I'm going to go over it all again in a short function, just because this stuff is going to be on my quiz tomorrow. So anyway, cognition is pretty much an umbrella term for understanding thought, attention, memory, and perception. The ICF classifies cognition as mental functions. Two categories of mental functions are global and specific. Specific mental functions is a conscious thought of cognition in behavior and communication. Global mental functions are unconscious functions that regulate arousal and mental state. Two types of intelligence are fluid intelligence, crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence is the ability to think and reason abstractly, and crystallized intelligence is the ability to utilize information, skills, knowledge, and experiences. Consciousness functions is your state of awareness and alertness. Orientation reflects awareness of yourself, others, time, and place. Embodied cognition is pretty much actively moving influences your cognition. There are two types of memory: short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory is categorized in two different parts, and that's pretty much your primary memory, which is able to recall information almost immediately within 30 seconds or less. Your working memory, which holds information to use for reason and comprehension. Long-term memory is permanent and is apparently limitless, and it is an information processing system. Storage utilizes the reasoning and comprehension of the short-term memory and the autobiography storage of past events, and somatic memory language of facts. Metacognition is pretty much a complex goal-directed thinking, which involves planning, organizing, evaluating, and executing. And emotional functions and mental functions related to feeling, pretty much knowing a time and a place. All right. So, good to go. Have fun.